Hot intros. Number one.
Here we are.
I guess before the question, first wing.
Let's do it.
It is the warm intro.
The warm intro. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Easing in.
It's not too bad.
Actually good.
Yeah, no, the first one is
It's
like,
actually good.
it's a good hot sauce. It's sweet. It's
Yeah.
I think it's got a little bit of peach in it or something.
Yeah.
So you've traveled the world.
Yeah.
Trained sales teams of all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
What's the biggest weakness you've seen in individual salespeople and individual managers?
Ooh, okay. So clarification question. Just the frontline managers, or we're talking about director VP? Because that's a whole different answer too.
Wait, let's go with frontline for this. So
Okay.
salespeople and then frontline managers.
Okay, so for individuals, the biggest weakness is their overall coachability, but ego. When I trained a ton of people, I realized that they were really good at what they do. However, in order to get to the next step, they need to just like remove that ego and have more of a coachability.
It's like an untrainable aspect.
Yeah.
Right? You have to unlearn to relearn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also it's ego from other places. So they'd be really good at one company and they're like, I did this thing really well. And they would transition to the new company, it would not be successful because they weren't willing to learn from the other people to get to the next level. And so for individual contributors, that is like the number one weakness that they have that's preventing them from being great.
Always be learning, always be willing,
Yep.
open to new ideas.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Now for managers, it's very interesting. They're so focused on what they did to be successful that if the rep isn't doing it their way, they write them off. The biggest weakness and the biggest gap for any manager. So because most of the time, account executives, SDRs, the highest performing ones, would get promoted to the manager. Which if you think about it, in retrospect, I like to use sports analogies, but that actually makes sense and not random ones. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because would you take Mahomes after winning the second Super Bowl and be like, hey, you know what? Like, go be the QB coach?
Like maybe
That-
after years of training,
Yeah,
like that wouldn't be a linear jump.
Like, why
Yeah.
would you? That's
Yeah.
ruining our productivity that we need done here. So you really have to vet someone to get an understanding of, are they really the best coach,
Yeah.
manager for your team, or also for your entire sales org? And if they're not, then it's just not going to work at the end of the day. So that's why I see a huge weakness in a lot of frontline managers. They focus on what made them successful instead of what frameworks can I input in this stuff to make them successful.
All right, well, sort of similar question. You said before that it's time in sales for a revolution, not a reinvention.
Yeah.
In a reinvention, the core stays the same and small things change.
Yeah.
In a revolution, usually it gets thrown out and something new comes in.
Yeah.
So what needs to get thrown out?
Yeah. Okay. So this is hard for me to say. I started out as an SDR, right? So like a lot of people are like, yo, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I believe that hey, let's go load up accounts inside of our campaigns, outbound, whatever you do, and just sending it out at scale is not it. And a lot of companies, they rely on that. They say, hey, we got to send out 200 emails a day. They have quotas on that. We have to completely get rid of that. And the numbers you're looking to hit are just not going to equate. So that just needs to go away.
Yeah.
I would say that anything you're doing around like just, hey, we need to go do a million. Oh,
Wait,
wait.
We already messed it up. We forgot to eat the second wing. All right, hold up. Interruption here.
Interruption in the middle of the
So
question.
this is the cayenne cold call, which
Okay.
feels actually relevant to the answer you were giving.
This was actually really good. Hold up.
Yeah. I probably should. The first two, like,
This one actually might be better than the first one.
yeah. The first two are the ones you want to bring home.
Yeah.
You're good.
So when I was an SDR, we made 100 to 120 cold calls a day. And that was just standard.
Wow.
Now, most people will probably do 20 cold calls a week, but still aren't converting, still aren't getting the things that they need done, right? And so with the cold call conversion to connect going lower, I still believe that cold calling can be impactful, but the way you do it at volume, I also still don't think that's the way to go as well. So you're throwing out the cold email, you're throwing out really the cold call to a certain degree.
So you don't think AI is going to save those things?
I think to a degree, AI will actually save the prospecting in terms of the email component because you're able to create more emails at the scalability. I know there's obviously different softwares that, would say otherwise, but if you really look at AI, it can analyze sort of emails, it can then replicate those emails and do it pretty proficiently. And most average reps, they're just pushing and playing buttons, right? So that's basically AI, but way faster, right? So a lot of proficient reps are going to be successful because their manual tasks are going to be expedited. But most people at the end of the day, they're going to get cooked, right? They're just not going to have a chance. So the way that I think of the revolution, what we've been working on at AMP is like, first of all, events. Like events are starting to skyrocket. I've talked to a lot of executives and they're investing.
Especially in a post-COVID world, it's like
Exactly.
really coming back.
They're doing more events. They're doing more micro events. They want to do events with their customers and they're getting rid of the other things that they do. And the obstacle is that most operators don't know how to operate that way, right?
It's a new world.
It's a new
And
world.
it's revolution.
And it's a new thing you have to learn. So you have to learn, okay, how
Be
do events work, right? Coaching, right?
Yeah.
Content, like, it's like, how do I do this? It's like new lane. And so you're either like, well, I'm just gonna stick to what I know because, or you're gonna have to learn what's new. And that's what I'm saying. That's why it's a revolution, because you're gonna have to learn new things. It's inevitable. I'm just seeing what the buyers are doing and how they engage.
That seems like a good leeway to our next sauce, because it's called SDR tiers. So this is where it starts. This is where it starts getting a little spicy.
This is where it gets aggressive.
Yeah. A little bit of a slow burn.
Yeah.
But you can feel the heat now.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Like 2 minutes from now, you'll be like, whoa, okay, I really feel that I need it. So my next question was actually going to be, do you think SDRs will exist in 5 years? But since we basically just answered that, I'm going to shift it to, if you think SDRs are going to be less important and less critical moving forward, what do you see as the entry path for junior people breaking into tech? Because that's been a classic.
This is a great question. So the SDR in 5 years, I don't think we will call them SDRs. I think most people will move into full sales cycles, sales roles. And there's been a lot of companies that are starting to do that. A lot of companies that we work with, and they do that. So I think there's going to be 3 different roles that are going to come out of this. Number one is you go into a role at a company, depending on the industry, but most companies will have this. You're going to become a full sales cycle SMB rep. Maybe your maximum deal size is like 5K, 10K. So like it's fine. You can still learn.
Kind of like a sales assist motion more than a traditional like
full
outbound.
Yeah, inbounds are coming in. Yeah. You got a good flow. You probably are doing some really good content, and you have your reps closing on that. Because then you're going to be able to teach them the prospecting, which you already be doing, and they get the close. And so your drop-off rate is not going to be as high as most of the people. There's a stat that the Bridge Group did, I think it was like about 2 years ago or a year ago, and said that if an SDR didn't stay in the role for 12 months, then they would 38% of people would make it. So if you for 6 months, you're 30% of people make it, 9 months, whatever, right? So it's that key component at the end of the day is that we have to really focus on how can we get people in and start selling and prospecting immediately? Full sales cycle. So that's number one. Number two is...
So going to your first question, train them properly from day one. Don't give them the grunt work and expect them to figure it out.
Exactly, which happens in most companies, right?
And SDRs are just have fun, good luck, maybe you'll make it, maybe you won't.
Yeah, exactly. And then number two is it's going to be the AI prompter. So I think a lot of people are going to have just researchers, and they're going to prompt and then give information to the account executive. And then the third piece is that people are going to come in as a researcher, but they're going to be in pods. So they're going to be able to work with the account executive. They're going to find ways to penetrate to the accounts. Still an SDR to a certain degree, but it's extremely targeted. It's not you're going to go after 1 million accounts.
The through line here so far is better training, better training, better training.
Yeah.
All right, wing number 4.
Number 4. This is where I heard it gets crazy.
This is called Ghosted Pepper. There is ghost pepper in it.
Oh my goodness.
So this doesn't look very nice.
Here we go. This is where my demise happens.
Don't touch your eyes, whatever you do.
That's a good tip.
You like video games?
Love them.
Maybe a little bit of a dumb question, but what's your favorite video game? And is there anything from the gaming world that applies to sellers and sellers could learn from?
Ooh. I love this question. So Ben and I were just chopping about this. My favorite game is Halo 2. The reason for that, it was the first time where I learned teamwork on a whole different level that I never thought. And so I look at 3 components here. Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is sneaking up.
It's a slow burn.
I got straight assassinated in there. Oh my goodness. Okay. So my 3 points is this is burning up very aggressively.
Yeah. And you got one more wing.
Yeah, I got one more. So I don't even know what this one's going to be about because this one's creeping. Okay. So number 1 is when you play video games, the way that video games are designed and to keep you engaged, after a lot of research that I did, is they have checkpoints of accolades that you get. So in Halo 2, there's a ranking system. Mm-hmm. And it's you beat a match, you get to rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, all the way up to it was at
it's like a little carrot in front of you constantly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so sales, if you could think about it in the same way, and it's helped me, that's why I relate to video games a lot. Because when you're learning sales, you have to think about it as a scorecard. Let's just look at the right SDR or sales rep.
Yeah.
What's my grade in cold calling? What's my grade in cold emailing? What are my social selling skills? What are my video skills? And then you have to figure out, how do I level that up?
Yeah.
So what courses do I need to acquire? What things do I need to do? And then the better you get at that skill, in return in your life, you get money or more commission.
Yeah.
And the video game taught me that is the better I got at sniping or the BR or, you know, the sticky grenades, I started getting more kills.
Some people never go beyond like the basic gun.
No.
Right? They're like, I'm good at this, I'm going to play with this. But the really good players are well-rounded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I just continuously gained that momentum, and that's what happened there. 2, it was like communication. Like sales is communication.
Yeah.
Not only with your potential client,
With your
with
team.
your team,
Yeah.
your manager. And so, you know, we were chopping it up. Like literally we would go into maps and practice together and say, okay, you're sniper 1, I'm driver 1.
Yeah.
We're going to go above here. We have like 3 enemies down here. They have this rifle. This is how many clips they have left. Like it was
people don't realize how
so
scientific
intense.
top gamers get with stuff, right?
Dude, it was so
and
intense.
same thing, like the top sellers get really scientific. Like they have their shit nailed down.
Exactly. They're like, okay, the buyer asked this question or they said this, we have to ask
not
the
just
question
following.
here.
Also, gaming is like on the fly. You have your plan, but like you don't know what the other team's going to do,
Exactly.
right? So like there's a lot of like you can have your plan, you can have your script.
You got to be
but
intuitive.
you gotta be on your feet, ready to change.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was number 2 for me, and number 3 was it was just like getting immersed in your craft.
Yeah.
That was really
An obsession
big for me
over being the best.
of being the best, and because you could see it on the scoreboard, and like the sales is the same way. Like you see it on the scoreboard, being like, okay, I'm getting better at this because I can see it. And for me, like I learned a lot in video games because like I always had something more to learn, and I believe it's the same thing in sales as well.
All right, how's your mouth?
Dude, I'm on fire. This one killed me.
You can back out.
Oh,
I'll
never back out. But
All
I know
right.
this one's about to kill me.
All right, so to give you an idea, you notice they're like all simple plastic black tops. This was like the red wax of death.
Oh my goodness.
Called the Lost Lead. I think the tagline
I'm about
is,
to be a lost lead.
Yeah, almost as painful as losing that 7-figure deal. And it's an 11 out of 10 despair
Oh
level
my
of beat.
goodness. It looks very dangerous, but we're here. We got
You can take a small bite, a big bite as you want.
Dude.
No pressure.
Oh, whoa.
This is a little bit of a slow burn. Give it a few seconds.
Yo. I already know this one's coming in hot. Yo. This is not it.
You're gonna be halfway through answering this question. Oh, I can feel it too.
I feel it simmering like a volcano's about to erupt.
Yeah. All right. You do a lot of content yourself for startups, for clients, etc. What's the craziest content idea you've ever had that you either have pitched to a startup and they said no way, or you haven't even bothered pitching anyone because you're like, no one's ever going to accept this? And I'm half asking this because whatever it is, I want to do it.
I would say the most fun project I ever did was a content house. By far, last year in March, we did it in Atlanta when I was at JB Sales, Sell Better. We got 5 to 8 content creators in the house, marketing and sales. It was awesome. We did a webinar, like in person, that was lit. We did a workshop that was great on just like outbound prospecting. We did some TikToks outside, which were cool. And then we set up 4 different YouTube studios. So we could do YouTube content. And then we just like blocked it out. We had people film and directing on set. Like it was.
I really want to do a House of Dino eventually. And I want to so you can actually rent out like museums for like multiple days. So imagine the content house being like in a museum with dinosaur fossils.
That would be awesome. And
it's
doable.
just very expensive. I'm not that crazy. Also, this one really builds.
This one's building up. I'm trying to thoughtfully get to this answer. And I'm like, this is aggressive.
I'm going to copy the Hot Ones guy. Be like, if you have a message for people watching, there's that camera, or that camera. Look at one and give it your message.
The message is that if you were not thinking about evolving your go-to-market strategy, you're going to get lost in the sauce here. So I say think about event activations, video content. That's what we're doing. And hit us up at AMP if you want to learn more.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Appreciate
What's up,
you.
man? Appreciate you.
You survived?
I survived. Made it.